All right, guys. It's been a minute, I feel.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while, and
I know.
I'm excited. I'm excited, guys.
Yeah.
I'm excited, guys. Welcome back to a Different World podcast, the show where we thrive on having disruptive conversations about sex, love, politics, religion, and everything else in between. Mm-hmm. I'm your host, Corey Kareem, alongside the lovely and beautiful
Angelina Williams.
And today we got some interesting gentlemen here today. And why don't you introduce?
Yeah, so we have Mr. Matthew Pompey.
There you go.
And Mr. Joe Bonsu. These gentlemen I've known both for quite some time. And I'm super excited for today's topic, actually. We're calling this episode BLERD Love.
BLERD Love.
Yeah, we're for those people that don't know what BLERD Love is, we're going to get into it. But both Joe and Matthew and I have been having conversations about what it means to be a blerd or a black nerd and dating, specifically wanting to date black women. Yeah, and there's a lot around that. So before we dive into it, I'm going to give these gentlemen a moment to tell us about all the absolutely dope shit that they're doing. I've been fans of your guys for a while. Been following your work for... Oh, thanks. I've been following your work for years. Joe, I can't remember how we met, but I do remember one of the first times we went out to coffee, you drew a little picture of me, and I still have it. Yeah. I wish I had short hair, and
it was dope. Like, I remember I was doing some cleaning in my room, and I found the sketchbook I did it in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I was like, I still have it somewhere. It's really dope. So,
we're gonna use that as collateral in post-production.
Yeah.
So right at this point,
I'll scan it too.
Make an editing note. It's gonna come up as soon as we bring this up.
Yeah. I'll scan it and send you.
But tell us about what you do. You're an animator and you have your comic book series.
I'm more of an illustrator comic book artist. Yeah. My boy, Mark Williams, and I, we have this brand called Heroes of the World.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brand comprised of international original characters, international superheroes that represent different parts of the world. We have comic books. We have a t-shirt line. Yeah. All sorts of merchandise. You can check us out on www.theheroesoftheworld.com. Also check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz.
All right. So, awesome. And now Matthew, geez, what hasn't Matthew done? Man, music videos, movies, short films, magazines, like pretty much everything. And your company is Design Your Soul.
So it's actually two mainly.
And Make Believe.
So Make Believe would be the marketing company, and then the Design Your Soul is the digital entity. That's kind of like my main brand now.
Right.
It's kind of hard to say what Design Your Soul does. It's like kind of like the stopgap for everything because I do way too much. Like you always know when I say it's like, what do you do when I start a conversation? I'm like, I'm an ace of all trades. That's kind of the easiest way.
All trades.
Kind of the easiest way to say it. You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
Consider it stolen.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Design Your Soul TM after it.
She's joking. I'll literally have it on a t-shirt
next week.
I gotta do it tomorrow. But I'm pretty creatively inclined. I don't really like to pigeonhole myself to any one particular medium, but I like to do everything, and I happen to be lucky enough to do them well for most things. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, I think that kind of gives people an idea of why. I wanted you guys to be a part of this conversation. Again, not only that have we had these conversations offline before, I think it's kind of timely. You know, there's a lot of black images in the Comic-Con world coming out more and more. And we're kind of in a time in our society we're pushing against what the definition of black is. So I thought it would be really cool for us to dive in and have this conversation. So for our viewers and listeners, what we are, I kind of want to go over like the scope of what we want to cover today. So it's kind of, we're playing with the ideas around the definition of Black identity, societal ideals versus personal ideals. You know, why do we want the things that we want? Is it because we want it or because society tells us what we should want? And something that I think is very provocative, culture versus community, right? So do we feel more at home in people that we share the same culture with, or is our community more of a great resting place for us? Do we push more to one side or the other?
And by community, you mean like Black community?
So culture being like a Black, West Indian, West African person, community being part of the nerd world, right? That's your community, right? So what kind of pushed that for me is I heard or was reading, a conversation online about Black people in the LGBTQ community and them, of course, identifying as Black, but not feeling connected to the Black culture or not being accepted by Black people. And so found refuge and solace in their community, which is the LGBT community. And I wondered okay, so now we're playing with this discussion about Black identity. I wonder if the same kind of struggle or question applies for Black nerds or BLERDs, if you will. Yeah, so I think that that's kind of what I wanted us to dive into today. We cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. I guess, so...
It's like, let me just take a go.
I saw one man taking a drink like Paul Ryan back in the day.
Here we go.
Serious.
I don't know. This is an episode that I wanted to do for a while, and I think it's so on point.
Fun.
You know.
To be honest with you, I didn't even know what BLERD was. That was a new term to me. When I was like BLERD, I was like, all right, let me go.
You're like, it's not real. Like, yes, it is.
And you take the nerd.
Yeah, I got it after that. I was just like, I've never heard that term.
I didn't know what it was either until she said it to me. I'm like, it's a thing? Like, that's actually what it's called?
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm one, but I didn't know that's the name for it. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw to you, Matthew.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Great.
Yeah, no, I just don't mean to put you on the hot seat. It's not that serious. But define what a nerd is to you.
To me, well, I guess, okay, in my opinion, what I feel a nerd is someone who takes themselves a little bit too seriously when it comes to things technically inclined. And I will say that only because if someone asks me what's in my laptop, most people will just be like, oh yeah, it's an i7 or anything, whatever. I'm like, no, it's an Intel Core processor. It's like, then you just get into it. It's like, it's got so many gigahertz, blah, blah, whatever. Things that don't matter to anybody but myself. And
right.
The same thing could be said for a car enthusiast, right? I mean, they might know exactly where and how to fix the timing belt.
Right.
Most people will probably know what to do to pay to replace it, not to actually fix it, right? So I think it just kind of goes hand in hand in that term. But yeah, that's kind of what I feel like it is to me. Just someone who's just a little bit too much towards, like, not even just tech, but like technically inclined to little things that are necessarily, I guess, out there in the, I don't even know how to say it, in the world of...
Yeah, someone that I feel like, to me, it's like, to us it might be simple, but to you guys, whatever that thing is that you're really technical about,
you're
like,
fanatics with it.
Yeah, it's like really geeky thing. Like, okay, I use my computer as an example, but if I were to say that, like, I like anime way too much, and I think that is, I don't even know if that comes as like a nerd thing, but definitely because it's kind of like an outcast niche.
Yeah.
It falls in it. So
Yeah.
Stuff.
What about you, Joe?
I feel nerds are, or the definition of a nerd is somebody that's passionate about things that no other person would be passionate about. Right?
Nobody cares.
Nobody would care about. Like, back in the day, I remember comics were taboo. Everybody in the odd nerd would love comics.
Right.
So for a guy like me who loves them, I was often teased and picked on because of that. But now it's cool. Because of the Marvel films and Avengers Endgame and all that good stuff. Things like, statues, video games, and all that type of stuff.
Like the collector's items.
Yeah, all that
like
stuff.
This is the third release of whatever. There's only 300 in the world.
Right?
Got it. Yeah. What about the card game that y'all play? I just put y'all in one.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Like Magic the Gathering? No, honestly, I don't fuck with those. Actually.
So, sorry, the Dungeons and Dragons thing?
Yeah, I don't fuck with
those. Because the mall where I used to grow up, there's they got a little store space, and like every Saturday.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
A lot of the comic book stores, they have them. Yeah, they have them. They have the little tournaments and all that stuff. That shit goes over my head.
So there's varietals.
Yeah.
When it comes to nerds, right?
Yeah,
for sure. So there's your tech nerd, your art nerd, your or comic book nerd.
That's it.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, there's like, I can't keep track of it because I have a few BLERDs in my life, and I know that there's a lot of meetups. Like you guys do your meetups on a regular. I mean, and like Matthew was saying, some people go extreme with, they plan their whole year around certain meetups and have their costumes and everything ready to go. But how does it feel?
No.
Okay.
He's like, no,
I will say though, like I've been known to like collect certain, I guess, like nerdish items. Like for people who are going to be reading your podcast, I know you guys probably not going to know what it is, but like for Final Fantasy VII, it's like a really popular video game.
Yeah,
I collected like okay, there we go. So like I have cool. Well, I mean, see, but it's cool now.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Back then it wouldn't have been, but I like collect the swords of the villains. Yeah. So I have the Sephiroth sword.
Okay.
I have Squall sword. I don't have the Buster sword.
You don't have Buster sword. Is that Clouds?
Yeah. So see, they're going on a whole.
I was there, and then
But like I'm saying, like things like that. Like I'll collect. I'm like, no, I don't dress up and get it. Art and stuff.
Right?
Yeah. Just 2 weeks.
But like there's like a ton of meetups that happen literally around the world in almost every city around the world.
Yeah.
But what does it feel like? Even if you don't go to these specific meetups, but what does it feel like to be the minority in an already minority group?
Good question.
No, I feel like in the nerd community or like in that whole community, you don't really think about that.
Really?
You know what I mean? You just go and you just have a good time. I don't know if it's like that for everybody else, but I know for me, it's just like I go to these conventions and I don't think about
you're being a black guy.
Exactly. I just go show my shit with like Heroes of the World or, there with my sketchbook and whatnot, and I just vibe with people. You know what I mean? And we just share ideas and thoughts and feelings about the stuff that we like. And
that's pretty awesome. Yeah. That warms my heart. That warms my heart because I feel like
it's like it almost sounds like it's an environment. Like maybe I'm going too far. Maybe I'm just going off your experience, but. It almost feels like it's an environment where people don't really see color, race.
Yeah, they see it.
Yeah, it's like, but it's more like I don't interrupt you, but it's more like to a technical aspect. Like, I mean, if you want to say for Anime North or something like that, right? If people are not looking at you as the color you are, as opposed to like how accurately you are depicting the character that you're dressing up as. So if I'm going as, I don't know, like everybody knows Street Fighter, so if I'm going as a Ryu or a Ken, as a black guy, people are looking at you just like, you could have done that better if you were so-and-so. But everybody wants to dress up as what they want to dress up like. They're like, why don't you paint your face? And it's like, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But like, I just also feel like it is a lot more comfortable.
Your face?
It's like, no, but I was making a very crude joke. Because I'm not going to go whiteface. Like,
Gotcha. I was like,
But the thing is, what I'm saying is, like, they're looking at you not in like a racial way. It's just like you could have depicted that character better. Like, there is a black version of like Ryu and Ken. I can't remember what his name is, but the guy with the dreads, the yellow guy.
Sean.
That's Sean. Yeah. So like, I mean, like they'd be like, why didn't you do that or something like that? Like, they're more so like, why couldn't you portray a character perfectly?
Right.
Certain anime fans are specific. They're very specific. Man.
Yeah. So I remember seeing on social media, people having really a lot of issues with like certain Marvel or characters now coming in as black, or the Avenger characters being depicted as black in a new series of comic books. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying that, I'm not challenging you, I'm just asking a question. So if you're saying that typically when you're out there, people don't really make remarks of your race, why do you think that there's always this huge uproar on social media anytime a black person is casted in one of these roles?
I don't know. I feel like, there's certain fans that are just stuck in their ways. Like when they see a character like a Sam Wilson being Captain America, or Sam Wilson's the Falcon.
Yeah.
They see him as Captain America. They'll have those odd nerds. They'll be like, no, he's supposed to be Steve Rogers. But Captain America could be anybody. Same thing with Spider-Man. Like, Miles Morales is there, but the old heads still looked at Peter Parker.
Right.
And Stan Lee even said, like, years ago that he created Spider-Man because he wanted to depict he wanted to depict Spider-Man in a way where anybody could be Spider-Man. Whether it be, the black kid from Jane and Finch, or the black girl that's in Kensington. Anybody could wear that mask and spin their web. So,
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's good to know that in the physical world, it's not that, and it's just like an online bullying thing. Yeah. That's good to know. But one of the conversations that all three of us have had, has been about the challenge of dating as a BLERD, and I think Joe, you're the one that said if I didn't personally want to date a black woman, it would be easier. But you have a desire to date black women. Why do you think it's so hard to, as a BLERD, to...
Man.
A BLERD.
Man,
you're going first. Oh, no.
I'll do this.
It's like, I'm prepping this one.
Because, it's honestly, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because,
just say it, bro.
Lately,
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Someone's going to be mad regardless.
Of course.
I'm already offended.
Right? Oh man, I feel like it's difficult for myself as a BLERD to date a black woman.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Don't quote me on this. But I find a lot of okay. Majority don't look our way. I would say, like majority of them I don't know.
Go ahead. Say, we've had this conversation.
We have.
I know what you're going to say.
It's social media, but
he's afraid of Black Twitter. It's okay. They come after all of us.
For real. No. I just feel they don't look for us.
Okay.
They're looking for, somebody they feel is grown up. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, I feel like black women look at BLERDs as the kids.
Yeah.
We're childlike. We love comics. We love anime, and it's
like that.
Yeah, and it's so far from what they're into. Of course, some of them can get into some can get into it or want to get into it now because of like I said, the movies and whatnot.
It's becoming more mainstream.
Exactly, everything's becoming more mainstream. But they still see us as kids. We're still kids. We're not on that level. We're not men.
Wow. Okay.
That actually unravels a lot for me. Because I feel like this is where my brain is going. Because it's like a lot of times we've had conversations about like masculinity and toxic masculinity. It's kind of like, so there's like, we're in this era right now where we've identified what toxic masculinity looks like. Yeah. But I think there's some of us, just because we've been conditioned, there's certain things we identify as being a man or a strong black man. Yeah. When they look at a BLERD, they're like, doesn't check a lot of those boxes sometimes.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So it's like that's what I just got from what you just said.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Matthew? What's some of the challenges?
Okay. If I'm really looking at it, I'm going to play like the double-edged sword here because the issue with it that I see is you can't have people trying to be themselves no matter what and in their comfort zone, just being nerds talking about things. Like for me, for example, I love anime. It is almost impossible for me to find a woman that likes anime. I feel like I'm looking for a Japanese woman with a black body. Because I love me a black woman, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, going back to, looking for more of a, I'm going to say like masculine, manly man, because it could be just mannerism. It's not like any less of a man in that sense. It's just they're looking for someone maybe who's not even necessarily right for them, but it is what they're looking for. So being overlooked, I feel, is 100% true because we're not the first option. until we start making more money. And I think that goes hand in hand with just the way times have changed. Like even now, like you couldn't think of an app developer as a millionaire, like probably not even a decade ago.
True.
You know, so
very true.
It's weird because like at the same time, like I kind of agree with the sense of what they're doing because I feel like there should be a balance in there.
Sorry, when you say you agree with the sense of
so the reason for my understanding for why I feel like black women are looking for someone more, I guess you could say, manly or astute. Like it's just basically because there should be some sort of balance between it. So we as nerds, like I mean, a lot of people when you think of a nerd, you think of like this super overweight geeky guy in the middle of playing video games, eating pizza, you know, like braces or something like that. And I feel that that's also part of the problem because that is not at all what a nerd is now, I guess you could say, compared to like back then. So,
and honestly, you could say that in some shape or form, we're all nerds. We're all nerds, depending on.
I like that.
Whatever our interests are, we're all nerds in that area.
Yeah,
I think
I think got those things.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, it's like, we're more technically inclined too.
Yes.
So like a lot of things.
Sorry, no, he said I geek out, so I'm like, what are you a nerd for?
For me, I'm probably one of the only people in Toronto that has YouTube Premium. Because most people are like, why would you pay for that? But I'll tell you why I have that, right?
Yeah.
Because I take the train to work downtown, and I like to download these little 7-9 minute CNBC videos, CNN videos, and let's learn about Tesla's Gigafactory and how they set it up, right? So in like 7 minutes, I learned all these facts and figures about any company I want. And I like download this information and I can use it in different ways in my life. So I'm a nerd for like information. I'm a nerd for learning how to work with people better in terms of like relationships.
Like those self-help nerds?
Like that. But yeah, I just like to know how to optimize better. Like I just like efficiency, how to get better as a person, right? So I'm a nerd in that.
I'm definitely a bevy nerd.
A bevy.
Beverage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100. Yeah. Sorry, that was a bevy nerd term. Yeah, I'm definitely a bevy nerd. So yeah, it's true. I think that nerd is not such a derogatory term anymore because we're learning a little bit more about it. And what's interesting specifically about Black nerds is how many publications are writing about it. Right. And people are kind of speaking out more about it. I'm going to double back to that in a little bit. But what are some of the like misconceptions you think that women have about it? You touch on a few of them, like Black nerds in particular, but we're speaking about Black nerds specifically, are childlike. Yeah. Right. So that's definitely one misconception because there's plenty of grown men working, taking care of families that identify as nerds. My dad is a bit of a tech nerd.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, complete tech nerd, and also a bit of a car enthusiast as well.
Is he Android or Mac?
No, he would never touch a Mac. Yeah, he's not into the Apple stuff. Yeah.
It makes sense.
He's kind of like anti-fat, clique kind of thing. He doesn't like to be marketed to,
Open source versus cult.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Straight over the cult, right?
Woo! Listen,
I hate cults. I hate cults, but apparently
Apple
is... Apple is
it's a cultist mindset.
Yeah, it is.
Couldn't someone say that, those kamikazes is some variation of a cult?
For sure, I think, yes.
The reason why I can't say a cult because there's no, religious aptitude to it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to buy into it other than going to the event.
There's a huge buy-in, though. Yeah. Come on. There's, people invest a whole lot into it.
This is what I mean.
Tickets are expensive. And,
I know, but this is what I mean by what we're saying, cult versus open source, right? The convention and events and everything is like saying going to an Afrofest or something like that. You're going to buy your outfit for an Afrofest. You're going to go get a dashiki or something like that. So if I'm going to get a costume for an anime festival, that's still me participating. Apple, you literally have to buy everything to stay within their ecosystem.
Within 5 years, it's fine.
I didn't say anything about that, but I'm like, That's the mentality I was talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a tough comparison to compare Comic-Con to Apple, but I definitely think that it is. They have their following, they have their niche, they have their groups. But what I guess to go back to what we're saying in terms of the misconceptions, like if you could have like a whole room of black women sitting here, right, and you're like pleading your case, so to speak. You're like, listen, everything that you think I am, which is A, B, C, D, I'm going to dispel those myths about what a nerd is.
Man, I think it's difficult to do, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
I don't know, because it's still embedded that how the nerd is, unconfident and, like I said, childlike.
Do you think, sometimes I think that the problem might be less about what we think about nerds and more about what we think about black men in general.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that, speaking as a black woman, the only black woman at the table, I definitely think that I had to teach myself out of this is what I want. Like, I want a more tall, dark, and handsome, bald head, goatee, 6'3", and,
he got a degree from Harvard, but, he knows how to do, he
could dunk. Everybody wants the Barack, the Harvard grad, but they could play basketball. But so it's like, I think that our society has really put black men, or what it means to be a black man, in a box.
And then on top of that too, even with the media, the way the media portrays nerds, I believe that's embedded in the minds of certain people too.
Absolutely.
When you used to remember Urkel and freaking, even Screech, that's the whole.
Right, because Laura didn't really fuck with Steve until he was Stefan. Right.
Cartel.
Right.
Crazy.
That was a whole. That got people fucked up, man.
Right. That was
am I supposed to be Stefan?
Right. But I think that the difference with Steve and Stefan is that Stefan had a whole lot of confidence. And if you think about the story of Urkel and Laura, Laura didn't really. Laura didn't recognize Steve until he was like, listen, really got up in her face. It was like, you need to, it was a moment of, there's that confidence.
I'm going to disagree a little bit, only because I think if anything, Urkel had way too much that confidence, because he kept going after Laura.
Yeah.
For sure.
Openly out there. Yeah, but she was not giving any play. It's been until he got some swag, something that she can relate to.
Okay. Right.
That's what it was. So it's kind of like you're demystifying him and making him normal, but he's still just as smart, which is this is the funny thing about that whole Urkel transition, where it's just is he better because he's just he translates better into the world, into the real world. That's all. There's nothing missing from him other than the fact that he buttons his shirt properly and his pants are well hung. That's it.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, also the way he talked was very different.
But like I said, that's him adapting to the world that's around him, right?
Yeah.
But Urkel was just did I do that? It was sitting there was okay, you're not aware of your surroundings, buddy.
So back to the question that Andrew's asking. So if you had a panel of black women right here, like Matthew, if you had that opportunity right now, what's one thing you would let them know, you've experienced from, years past?
You know what? If I'm gonna answer that question, I kind of have to go back to how I view I kind of I'm very creative. Okay. So I kind of in high school, everybody would be being bullied on kind of the little nerds and stuff like that, whatever. But I was the guy all the bullies chilled with, because I showed them how to use their video cameras. It was that's just when those not Nokias, the V whatever, the Motorola's. It just came out. Everybody's video chatting now instead of just trying to send picture messages and stuff. Yeah. And I'm just I know how to use this in and out. It's you go here, menu there. Did you know that you could change the quality? It's just word, and everybody's just coming to me now to get that done. It's all right, cool. I'm facilitating this, so I gear my technicalness into usefulness, I guess, as opposed to just kind of being there and it's I know how to do all this stuff and I'm to myself. Right. I'll share it in a way that benefits me, I guess.
Interesting. So you're more social in that way. Yeah.
So I'm I could never. I didn't say I could never. I did kind of start that way because I guess perfect example, when I started about the Final Fantasy 7 stuff, I used to play a lot of video games, so I'd just be shut in. But then now when I realized, like, you know, people didn't know things that I knew, and I started sharing them, they want to know more from me. I'm like, cool, let me learn more things geared towards this thing, rather than just like, I'll learn everything just for the sake of it. It's just like, no, what would I think other people would want to learn?
Right.
So going back to now, if I was in front of a panel of black women, sounds amazing. I don't feel like I'd have to like argue myself for how I am, because I kind of have this like, oh yeah, we can't swear. I kind of have this don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
Mostly to almost everything. Like nothing really bothers me into that sense when it comes to how I make my decisions.
Right.
So if I were to just explain something to them, it'd be like, you need to expand your scope of what you think your ideal person is. Because I almost guarantee you that even if you said that you wanted the sexy Morris Chestnut or the whatever thing, you could find all of that, but you'd still want to make sure that at the end of the day, he's not just some overgrown lumberjack that doesn't know how to do his taxes or can't help you with changing your password if you got to forget something. Like,
Just at
the end of the day, like, but you know what? That's just a deeper like conversation itself. Because I'm like, I feel like women in general, black or otherwise, like you'll find a problem with your man if you really want to find a problem with your man. So
facts.
Just a broader scope of thinking towards a BLERD, like for what you're looking for. But yeah.
So do you guys approach women though?
I do.
Yeah. I feel I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like this is the wrong panel to have us on. I don't know. I can't sit with myself, but you seem like a good-looking guy. Like, I mean, you could show some really ugly blurs.
No, I don't think that's. I don't. But here's the thing. I don't think your preference of like, you know, whether you're a nerd about this or what have you determines the way you look. Like,
yeah,
you know,
we grew up in a society where everything's based off of looks. Let's be honest. Like,
but I think that's the misconception that we have, right? And so we're trying to push against the misconception that nerds are ugly, and that's not true. Not even remotely true. Not
Agreed.
even remotely.
I think that it's the context of it, but like if we were to look at it, I feel like I can't really say like for glasses, but let's say like if he had a twin, okay, and then you have glasses, the other twin doesn't have the glasses, exact same shape and everything like that, whatever. You're all making assume one is nerdier than the other without knowing anything about the person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the misconception I would say like that is at the forefront. But we don't have to like abide by those rules is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel more connected with your blackness or your nerdness?
I like that question.
Ooh.
That's deep.
Honestly, I'll be real. I'm connected to both.
Equally?
Equally.
Oh, okay.
Despite what others say.
Yeah.
People feel like, okay, he's more of a nerd, he's not really black, or he's too black to be a nerd. No, I connect with both. And if it's not your liking, then whatever.
The fact that you connect with both equally, do you find it more challenging to connect with one or the other?
I used to. Like, you know, I used to, well, sometimes I still do. Like, when I'm at events where the majority of the peeps are black, it's like, how do I navigate through the space? Like, I gotta really think about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to say the wrong thing and get dragged for it. I want to say, I want to make sure I'm treading the right way. You know, if I don't, I'm finished. So.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one. It's thin ice. Like, I mean, you gotta. We are subsect within our own subsect. So it's like we're black people, but we're nerds. So at the same time, we gotta be able to navigate conversations that are keeping us within that community that we are in, without alienating ourselves from our own nerd community and still staying on the black side.
What just occurred to me? So I asked the question earlier: what does it feel like to be a minority? A minority within a minority. And initially, I was thinking, okay, being a black nerd, like so, you being black in the nerd world, but being a nerd in the black world, kind of it works the same way as well. And so, what you guys are saying, like, you definitely have to balance both in some way.
Has there ever been like a situation you can remember, like going to like an all black event?
Yeah.
Was there anything? Do you have like an example of a situation?
Man, shoot.
It's like, what's a good one?
What's a good one?
All the time.
Oh man,
it's like let me rack.
Shoot, there's so many. I remember.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many. I'm just trying to go into the memory bank. So I remember going to, I think, one art show. I think it was at Dangle Spectrum, and I'm just there by myself.
Yeah. I'm
walking through. I'm seeing certain people I know, but it's like, okay, how am I going to carry this conversation? They're just all up in their business. So I'm just going to hang back for a bit.
Right.
And serve my art, be in my own space, and then leave.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Do you feel like, so because you want to, each of you guys want to be with Black women, where's that pressure, not pressure, but drive coming from? Is it like because maybe society says, hey, you're supposed to be with a Black woman, or is it something that is it societal value or personal? Okay.
I just love Black women. You guys are amazing.
Thanks.
You guys are awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry, slide you 100.
Yeah, right.
I saw that.
No, actually, it's 200, but no. No. Honestly, man, Black women are amazing. Like the things that you do, things that you provide for us, the things that you put up with.
Facts.
Now I'm going to sip on that one.
That's like I'm amazed by the resilience and all that. So
and still they show you no love.
I know, right?
Just gotta bring it home, man.
Right? No, but
can we get a moment of silence, please, brother?
Yeah.
I don't think I have a problem with
No. What about you, though, man?
I mean, I don't think my answer is as lovely as that.
Yeah.
I don't know. In all honesty, it's just thinking ahead. I think it's like survival, longevity. Quote unquote, I need someone racist like me.
Wow.
Not to say, I said I need someone racist like me, but not to say like racism specifically. I mean someone that can relate to my struggle as a Black man, like growing up. So I mean, like even if you're not, because I mean there's so many mixed or light skinned women out there, whatever. Even if you're not black, you're Black adjacent. I guess it's
Black
just the same. But
okay.
I prefer to like. I mean, I'm not trying to like go hotep here. But I prefer like someone that can relate to my struggle on a level that is just natural, you know?
So, one of my final questions. Childish Gambino, Tyler, the Creator. Do you feel like the image of the BLERD is becoming more mainstream? And will it be easier, do you think, to date now? Because interesting thing, Corey and I were having a conversation a while back, and it was after the This Is America video came out. I think we did a Hot Topics episode where we talked about, if you could be woke and dating interracially. And that was a big conversation happening out there where a lot of people were pushing back at the fact that Childish Gambino's wife was not Black. I don't know what her race is, but she's not Black. And, the conversation started sparking with Black men saying, well, ain't no Black women were checking for him, because he's a nerd or whatever. Nobody was checking for him. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay. So, a lot of that started coming up where BLERDs were saying, hey, well, Black women are not really checking for us. So we go to people that, will embrace us or let us feel loved and appreciated. But do you think that the mainstream appeal of the BLERD will increase your odds?
Will you guys get more love?
No.
Not either. Yeah. Honestly, the only way you're gonna get
I'm like, no.
Yeah, like
I just gave this nice soliloquy of a question and you gotta like,
Nah.
No, honestly. No, for real, like real talk, you're gonna get love by just being you. You know what I mean? Being yourself, being authentic, being confident, being genuine, not being too much, and not giving too little.
Yeah.
You just be yourself and you'll get the love that you deserve, I guess. But,
yeah, I don't think Childish Gambino is like a little bit of celebrity, and I think that's also because of everybody knows Childish Gambino, Redbone.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know Childish Gambino before any of that?
Yeah.
No, you don't know the side camp thing. But some people will go backwards from that. But like, I mean, you didn't know him before that. If anything, it was basically like him from Community as Troy. But that probably isn't even the ideal person that they look at Childish Gambino from until he started getting the beard, until he started getting the more soul kind of, I wouldn't say activist, like neo soul kind of thing. But if you really look at the core of his thing, like, I mean, literally his stage set before, what was it? Oh, Awaken My Love? I think that's the name of the album. Yeah, Awaken My Love. Everything before that was like this core nerd, rebellious kind of looking thing or whatever. It's like he's just really like just being out there in shorts. And he'll still do that in his spare time, but now it's just openly looked at for him to just enjoy. But translated outside of Childish Gambino is just like another rich guy with money in the sense. That's why everybody's liked and attracted to it, and they're mad that they didn't get to enjoy that while he was, I guess, more him. I don't think he's changed as a person. It's just like they're sad they missed out on the opportunity.
I do feel like guys like him have created a space for people to be more like themselves.
Agreed.
Because I think he predates him. Like, even if you go back to, like, even though Kanye is not just defined as a BLERD, like just being like regular.
We don't claim it.
You know, I know, but I'm just saying, like, just being like regular, just like not like your typical stereotypical like rapper.
Black guy,
I think like that kind of started like open up the lane and say, okay, yeah, it is okay to be different, and you don't have to be a guy that sold drugs or whatever it is, or
Kanye really did that though. You know what?
I do think I think he did, because the whole pink polo thing, and the backpack.
Feel like that was like an accident with him throwing his reds in the whites and the whites.
But even in some
regardless of what, I think that he definitely changed the way that we kind of considered, okay, this is what hip hop is, this is what hip hop looks like.
So agreed there. But like as I said, like for the culture, I don't think he did anything really that well. I think Jaden Smith is probably doing a lot more for the culture than most people even care to even.
But I feel like you wouldn't get a Jaden Smith
without a Kanye.
Yeah.
There's steps to it. There's steps to it.
I agree. There are things missing from it, but like I feel like even him, he was more. Well, yeah, I guess Tyler the Creator would have been a lot of influence from Kanye too. But I feel like it's because he had that freedom through like his father too. It's like, I mean, I can't remember what interview I saw, but Will Smith was like, "I want to be like big and white." I was just like,
"Who's that, Jaden?"
No, that was what Will Smith said. Okay. And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, and then when he gave it more context, like, Cinder was like, he wants to be in the way that his fame. You don't look at him like as like, oh, black or white. It's just that kind of fame that translates to everybody. Like, he wants to be in your room, in your living room, thing. And because of that mentality, like, I think that grew like Jaden into a way that he could really appreciate things. Like, one thing that I thought that when I have kids, I'll definitely do, because they were rich, what he did to ground them, well, him and Jada, I don't want to say just him, they'd make them write for things. So if he wanted a phone, he's rich, he can get a phone for anybody. So he had to write like a paragraph or whatever to figure out why it is that he needs this phone. And if they deemed it was good, they would give it to him. And that type of upbringing as a rich person to ground your kids, I think is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But even then, just seeing where he is now, like, I mean, just like culture, like, did you see what he did with the pop-up water?
In Australia,
yeah. So he did it in Australia, but then he went to Flint to do like little like vending machine size water purifiers.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, that's amazing. It's free for everybody to use. It's like just things like that. Like, who else is doing that in that mainstream then?
Right.
But I think again, his means definitely allows him to do that. But more specifically with respects to like the nerd culture or that nerd identity, to kind of echo what Corey's saying, the Kanyes, then now the Childish Gambinos, then the Tyler the Creators, and of course there's a whole host of them in between. But I definitely do think there's a shift, right? So I have a teenage daughter. And her idea or her ideas around masculinity, right, are also a lot more fluid than what mine were, right? So it means that when she's when she's looking for a partner in her future, she's not like, okay, you have to be fit in this very narrow box. Yeah. People are now able to embrace people for who they are, and now someone that's passionate is. just having passion about something is actually on people's list of things that they want from their partner.
Yeah.
Right.
There's another guy I'm thinking of. What's his name? Pink Swirl or Pink something. There's a guy, and he's always in pink. And he's always singing R&B.
Yeah.
And you like, it's like Pink something. But I feel like, I don't know if he identifies as being a BLERD, but I feel like he fits like the persona of like the Tyler creators and the Childish Gambinos. And he's a talented, amazing singer, right? Mm-hmm. But again, I just feel like, to Angie's point, I feel like being a nerd has become more acceptable, right? And if you look at like the guys that are making a lot of money now, people want to get into programming and cybersecurity and all the stuff that we're considered nerdy. Like now, that's where the money is at, right?
Yeah. Nerds are running this planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether people like it or not.
We've always had.
Think about it. So they say Iron Man in real life is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
So
same concept.
Yeah. But no, I hear you.
All right, guys. So final thoughts. What's your biggest takeaway from today's conversation on this BLERD love?
BLERD love.
It's not her and Childish Gambino song.
It's like, right? It's like, I don't know. I feel like we got to touch on some topics that were interesting to that little, like, I guess, sub community to it. But I felt like it was good to express my disdain for women overlooking nerds.
Such strong language.
He doesn't like to be overlooked.
It's like, no, attention whore.
What about you, Joe?
Final thoughts. Oh man, I think we covered everything that we needed to cover. I feel like there could have been more. There should be more, but I think we've covered a lot, and love BLERDs.
Love BLERDs.
Put up a peace sign, right?
Yeah.
People say put up a peace sign,
right?
His nerd is
nerdy.
Yeah,
right?
It's perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect. How about you, Corey?
Man, I unpacked a few things. So one thing you said was you feel like, because you don't fit the stereotypical black man look, whatever that is, that, you guys get overlooked. And I never really thought about it that way, right? Because you guys are good brothers. I'm here having good conversations with you. So ladies sleeping,
Yeah.
There's some women out there sleeping because guys chooses to read some anime or, go to Comic-Con. But if we're really about not judging a book by its cover, then, we need to change a few things. But yeah, that was probably the biggest thing I got from today's conversation.
My biggest thing that kind of, I started having this spiraling conversation in my mind while you guys were continuing talking. But one of the biggest things for me was the idea that I'm just going to speak about black women because that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Black women don't see BLERDs as fully grown men. That is, I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, that was
like,
I
was like, oh, that was like a big aha moment for me. And I think it's because, if you're women, oftentimes when we make choices for our partners, security is a huge component, whether it's physical security, financial security. Security is a huge component. And if I see you as a child, I'm not going to think that you can provide and protect. Me. Yeah. I was like, now what the solution is, I don't know. Yeah. But that definitely was a heavy hitter for me. Yeah.
That's it. Well, that wraps up today's episode, BLERD Love. So real quick, why don't you guys shout out your social handles?
Okay, cool. Matthew Pompey at Designer Soul, and also at Make Believe. That is Make BLV. Okay, there we go.
All right, and Joe Bonsu, Heroes of the World, one half of Heroes of the World, I should say. Check out our website at www.theheroesoftheworld.com. Also check us out on Instagram at Heroes of the World. I also have my personal page, which is at JO83. That's JAYOH83.
Perfect. Make sure to check us out at Different World at ADW_podcast and Instagram. And of course, check us out on YouTube when we have the full video up. And that will be, you can follow and subscribe at Different World Podcast on YouTube.com. And that's it.
I have to get a t-shirt that says "Love a BLERD."
Love a BLERD. BLERD love.
BLERD love.
That's gone.
But you don't love one.
I love all of them. I love them all.
Save the blurs, but I'm not participating.
All right, thanks guys for coming out.
No
Peace.
We're out.
Yo, this is Joe Sebonsu, one half of Heroes of the World, and you're tuned into BLERD Love on a Different World podcast.
Hi, I'm Matthew Pompey from Design Your Soul, and you're watching BLERD Love on a Different World podcast.